Now, one of the most accessible skills that we can work on when it comes to calisthenics, handstands, bodyweight strength is the L-sit position. Now, what I'm demonstrating here is the floor version, which is pretty tricky in terms of strength, balance, and more so flexibility of the position. Most adults can't sit in this position. So upright, flat low back with legs dead straight on the floor. That doesn't mean you can't train the L-sit. We can elevate the legs up or elevate the body up in general, raising the hands up on P-bars or boxes, and then bending the knees. That just creates more space and allows us to compensate for lack of flexibility. One of the biggest issues people run into when training the L-sit is they're actually training progressions that are too hard for them from a mobility point of view. And then when they try and force their body into that flexibility while holding the position, they're making the exercise itself way harder than it actually is because you're trying to force the body into the range of motion. Just bending the knees slightly allows you to get more time in the position, but just make sure while you're doing that, you're also working on that range of motion. Now, the range of motion can be hit in lots of different ways. Basically, what we're doing here is making sure the low back can stay flat, and then I can lean forwards. So like a good morning position. But if you're super tight there and you try and lean forwards, what will probably happen is you'll round through the back. So that's not helping us in terms of creating that 90-degree position with the legs locked backwards. And we can isolate that hamstring in a couple of different ways. So number one, I can put my foot up on top of something, lock the knee backwards, sit up as tall as I can and just hold this position. And then over time, I can slowly take my hands closer and closer to the knee, then the shin, and then the foot itself. Obviously, you can work on both sides. So lock the knee backwards, slowly go forwards and forwards. We can do exactly the same in a kneeling position. So in a lunge, like so, lock the knees backwards. See if you can get your hands to your knee, to your shin, fingertips to the floor, palms to the floor. And then thinking about taking the head towards the toe, not the head to the knee. If I think knee, it rounds the back. We want to think about lengthening. And then we've just got the standard forward fold type position. So here, locking the knees backwards and getting deeper and deeper. But if you're that tight, you might want to work on that single leg variations first before we start working on these variations. But trust me, keep working it, and it's amazing what you can achieve when you do it. And then while we're working on that hamstring flexibility, we can also work on our L-sit position. Now, we're not going to go straight into L-sit presses like that. We're going to focus on this first. So I would just make sure the knee is higher than the hip crease, hold here for at least 10 seconds, times 3 sets. So that means you're going to get 30 seconds time under tension. And then just increase that to the point where you can do 3 or 4 sets of 30-second holds, which might be made up of those combination of 10-second holds. But basically just hold as long as you can with knees above the hips. A great tool you can use is a broomstick handle like this. I'm just going to put that onto my knees now like so. I'm going to go into the position and then lift up. Now, if my knees start to come lower than the hip crease, you see it's going to roll off. So I'm going to hold as long as I can without letting the knee go lower than the hip. I can strand the legs, but as soon as that gets too hard, I'm going to start to drop, and then I know I've dropped because that happens. And that's going to keep you honest in terms of that correct time under tension, slowly closing the angle, and then as your flexibility increases, you'll be able to keep the stick on and have your legs dead straight. Now, it is possible to lift your butt off the floor there with knees bent, but it's much harder. And when you do that, you're actually practicing what's called the top support. Now, our top support can be done on the P-bars. So like this, my shoulders are backing down and my chest is open. I want to be in this good postural position. I don't want to be like this, so it's creating that good foundation. And then we can load on top the L-sit variations. It can also be done on the rings, which is much harder. And again, just make sure that you're opening the chest up in that position and not collapsing down. And then once we have the L-sit, we can progress to other movements like L-sit through to things like tuck shoulder stands, and then eventually shoulder stands that are opened up, and we can transition both on the P-bars and the rings to make those harder and harder. But first, we need to build down those foundations, achieve the correct L-sit position first. Another fun but horrible exercise is to go into a position like this, place the fingertips on the floor, place them in line with the knees to start with. Just see if you can lift your feet up. If you can do that, see if you can put your palms down, lift the feet up. And you can do this for repetitions or holds in that position, but this is a very nasty exercise. But again, it's very similar to the L-sit position. If you don't have the flexibility to do that, it's pointless actually trying to lift your legs up and down because your body's constantly going to be compensating and rounding. We first need to work on that flexibility and make you strong and conditioned in the range that you currently have. So raising those hands up, yoga blocks, weight plates, P-bars, whatever works, just allow you to bend the knees just enough so you can hold the position. If you're after more help with your training, I have my online courses, my app, my full online coaching, and my critiques only service. Basically, the difference between them is this is skill based, so it might work on handstand balance or press or handstand push up. So one skill from beginner all the way through to advanced, tutorial videos, demonstration videos, programs, multiple programs. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. The app gives you a bit of everything, but it's subscription based. Still has all the programs, the tutorial videos, the demos, everything you need. But if you stop paying the subscription, you lose access to it. So that's the difference between the courses and the app. Online coaching is the big one. Unlimited access to me. You can send me as many videos as you want. I'll send you back critiques. I'll design a program for you. Everything's individualized. So that's like the most in-depth one will give you the quickest results, but obviously the most expensive because it comes with that full access. And I only have limited spaces for that one. So if you're interested in that one, you need to send me an email and I'll see if I have space. Critiques gives you a taste of that. Basically, you send me a video on the things that you're working towards, tell me about your goals, and I'll send you back a 10 to 15 minute video, giving you critiques, giving you feedback, and showing you the next drills that you need to be doing to take you to that next level. Links are all down in the description, or you can check out the website, www.paultwyman.com.au, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.